Okay, so I wanted to make a video on this because I get this question often, and it's how do I get better at doing electrics? And I usually have an answer for them, but when I tell it to them, they don't like the answer, right? And I don't say what you gotta do is just practice, just do a lot of electrics. That's just what a lot of people tell you. I think that's lazy. All right. I'm gonna show you guys how I practice my electrics. And this is how I practice my electrics. So we're just gonna get into it. I picked Devil Jin into Devil Jin. I am a Devil Jin player myself. If you want to watch some horrendous Devil Jin gameplay, you can catch it on my stream on Tuesdays. And whatever days I stream, I just stream at weird hours. Just know that, right? It's usually Tuesdays and Saturdays, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, but I try to be there. If I don't, I tweet why I wasn't at my stream. So the first thing is, what is an electric? I know this is gonna be a question for this is pretty much a guide on how to do electrics. All right, so what is an electric? Okay, I'm on the other side. I guess I had the settings set already, so that is beautiful. Look at how perfect this electric was. So this is what an electric notation looks like. You're just doing forward, there's neutral, then you're hitting down, down, forward, and as soon as you hit that down forward, you hit that 2 button, which is going to be the future button that's not going to work on your stick for some odd reason. That's more because you use it a lot when you play Mishimas. All right. I play on stick. You know, I'm not a pro player. If I can do it, you can do it. You could practice this on any peripheral. There's no excuse for you not to be able to do electrics. I used to be language. I used to be a Tekken player, or I used to play Tekken Tag 2 on an Xbox 360. This is true. This is true. I used to play on an Xbox 360, and I didn't play on stick. I played on pad. All right. And a lot of people, when I tell them that, whoa, you used to play on Xbox 360 pad, and I used to be able to do electrics. I used to be able to do down forward tune to perfect electrics, even though it would take me like 100 tries. I could do all of that stuff on an Xbox 360 pad. So there is no excuse for you not being able to do electrics. All right, you just can't make an excuse. All right, so again, I'm gonna show you guys with my hands. So it's forward, down, down, forward, and as soon as you're hitting that down forward, you hit that 2 button. So I know it's looking like, what, you play on a stress ball, dude? What are you doing? All right, but I'll show you guys again with my hands. So forward, neutral, down, down, forward, and then as soon as you're hitting that down forward, so when you're going from down, down, forward, you're hitting that 2 button. All right, so that's all it is. It's just that simple. It's crazy. It's not rocket science. All right, so let's switch sides, because this is my weak side. I usually do these drills for this side, and I do it for the other side. I do these, you know, some days I'll get on, I'll play, and then I'm like, man, my sidestep electrics were a little weak, or I could have punished some things a little bit better, you know, very common things that I know are punishable. Then I go select that character and I try punishing it. But we're just starting, you know, this is the most basic way you can train. All right, so the first one is consistency. Being able to do electrics consistently is very important. All right, so what do I do for a consistency drill? I'm gonna turn off my camera so you guys can see what I'm talking about. I like to backdash all the way to the end of the screen as quick as possible. This is where I practice my backdashes, and then I just do electrics till I hit my opponent twice in the air, and if I mess up, I reset, and then I just backdash all the way to the end again. But for the sake of this video, I'm trying to keep it under a time frame, so we're just gonna, I'm not gonna, if I mess up, I messed up, but just know I would restart and then try again. Another thing is I like to have them on just standing, and the reason why is because, again, I like to practice consistency into a combo, and then that would be 1 rep. I did mess up once, so I would have restarted it and done it again. But the point for this drill, all right, I like to compare it like learning how to punch. All right, you got the bag right there, you're learning how to throw your shoulder into it, turn those hips, you're trying to get that form down. That's essentially what this drill is for. All right, and then the reason why I ended off with 2 electrics is because that's usually the staple for Mishima characters. This is usually the staple for Mishima, so I'm gonna try doing the big boy combo. Okay, I messed up the first electric, I know, but whatever. You guys get the point. It's usually 2 electrics for the staple. So consistency is the first thing that I practice, because that is your form on how to throw a punch. The next drill that I like to do is I practice my punishment. I think this is, if you can't punish stuff with electrics, you're missing out on a lot of damage. You can just do down 3+4 with Devil Jin, but just know when you play Kazuya, when you play Heihachi, you don't have these options most of the time. You know, they're not fortunate enough, you know, and Devil Jin is the fortunate son. All right, so you're gonna okay, let's start that over. So I set these, I set flash punch combo, that is -17. It's -17. This one's -15. This one's -16. This one's -14. And then this one is -22. Now, those are the moves that I set. So again, we're gonna turn all these off because they're not important. I hate to say that, but they're not that important. Okay, so again, let's try it. Are all very just, that's really odd. So punish right there. Well, this is the hardest one. Again, I'm on a time restraint, so that's the other one. And then there you go. So you just cycle through these moves, practice punishing them. And the reason why you want to practice this is because the best way I could put it is, imagine fighting against a guy, all right, and you find an opening, just a very clear opening, all right, whatever the thing is. He tripped over his own feet, and he had both his hands down, and his chin was up wide, and you saw the sunlight hit his chin, and a little glare was on there, and you just didn't take advantage. You didn't knock him out. Like, what are you doing, dude? He was wide open. Take advantage of those opportunities. Again, I think this is the hardest one, hardest drill after my last drill that I do. Maybe it's just me, but these are, I think this is probably the hardest one. It's also one of the more important ones. You're gonna see at a lot of high level players who play Mishimas doing electric punishes, and they're gonna be right on point, you know. These are just drills, so take them lightly. Don't stress yourself out, you know. Take a break, you know, take some water, whatever the case is. you know, chillax. These are just drills. These are things that you're practicing so you could do them in the game. So punishment training, very important. This is still something that I practice to this day, and I've been practicing this since when I first started playing, and even then I still suck at it. You know, there's gonna be points of your or aspects of your game that you're just gonna have to work on more than other aspects of your game, you know. So the next thing that I like to practice is dashing electrics. This is probably what I was practicing before. So you're just doing a dash into an electric. You just keep doing this. The reason why I say to practice these things is because this is more than likely gonna be your whiff punishment tool. There's gonna be times where your opponent whiffs a move and it's just slightly out of range. Just slightly out of range. You know, so you're gonna have to need to dash up a little. You just need to move a little bit forward. What's the point of you being able to do a punch if you can't do it moving forward, you know? Like, what would be the point of that? So practice your dashing electrics, and then I consider myself somebody who's not that good at doing electrics, so again, practice your dashing electrics. Also opens up a little bit of a mind game. Some bad players, or even some good players, they'll try to duck if they think, oh, he's gonna do it again. This really happens when you do it twice. They might think, hey, he's gonna do it again, so I'm gonna duck in his face, or I'm gonna try sidestepping. It's usually what a good player will do. But if they duck, if you notice that they're trying to duck your electrics, it opens the door for more opportunities for you. For your Kazuya, you can do a 4-4-3, Heihachi 4-4-2, Devil Jin up 4-4. You get the point, you know. So it opens the door for you to land a mid on them free, or even if you want to get real risky, you could do that, but I don't recommend that you do that because low-level players, they'll let you slide, but high-level players, they'll delete your life bar. All right, so don't do that. The next thing is for this tutorial is learning how to backdash into an electric. I know some people are gonna be like, well, I can't backdash. Well, that's why you practice your backdash. I'll make a video on that later. I don't know when it comes out, but so you're doing a backdash and then you have to do an electric. So backdashing, electric, backdash, electric, you know. You're just trying to do this, backdashing into electrics, you know. So you see, that's a perfect example. I messed up that electric. Imagine if my opponent had whiffed something in my face and I didn't have my electric locked and loaded. I like to think of this drill kind of like that Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder fight, right? So if you don't know what happened in that fight, Deontay Wilder's a guy with really knockout power in his hands, right? But it doesn't matter how much knockout power you have if you can't do it while moving backwards. That's literally all it is. If you can't deliver those punches while moving backwards, you're not gonna knock anybody out. All right, and that's why Tyson Fury just put the pressure on him, just was in his face constantly, making him hold back, and you know, he couldn't do anything. He couldn't do electrics from holding back, you know. So this is where backdashing and holding back to electrics are very important. You got to be able to do these things, you know. So that's just a real world example of a situation like that. The next one is your my neighbors are making a lot of noise. And the next one is, what are we doing here? Okay, sidestep electrics. Sidestep electrics, I think, are very important. What I like to do to practice sidestep electrics, we got a repeat action. We set Devil Jin to do one, this move right here. It's up forward 3. So the reason why is this move is steppable to both ways. Okay, I'm trash. Steppable to the right, steppable to the left. All right. So it depends what you're trying to practice for that day. Trying to practice your sidestep electrics to the left, and then here you go. Yeah. I'm gonna close my camera so you guys can see what I'm talking about. What I'm about to talk about. Point is, when you're practicing your sidestep electric drills and your backdash drills. Okay, when you're practicing these drills, you want to get the punish thing to come out. Right there it goes. You see that punish that came out? That's what you want to get. You know, so right there it goes. Beautiful. Beautiful. You know, I think this is probably the best part of my game. It's probably for sure the most consistent part. I recommend that you guys practice this a lot, and the reason why is because when you practice this, when you sidestep your opponent, you take away a lot of his moves. You're taking, like for instance, if you're playing against another Mishima and you're sidestepping to the left, you're taking away his house sweep, you're taking away his electric, you're taking away his 4-4-3. Let's just use Kazuya for this example, his 4-4. So you're creating openings for yourself by using your head movement, etc., etc. You know, in this case, let's just call it head movement, and you just gotta land that punch that you got off to the side. You know, you angled off, now land that punch. What are you doing? You know, so start practicing this. It's very important part of any player's game. You know, so this move is very linear, and that's why I picked it. You shouldn't be you're gonna get hit by it, but like right there, but you shouldn't get hit by it a lot, you know. So even just a little sidestep will get you the result, like so. All right, so practice these things. Another one that you can do is set martial law. You know, you could set law to do his instant, just do wall running 3. That's very common against beginner law players, so you could do that, but I like just using Devil Jin. The next drill is what I've been working on now, and I'm not gonna explain, maybe I'll do it, whatever. So it's essentially you're doing a wave dash into a cancel into a wall standing move. I suck at this is why I've been practicing it, into another wall standing move. There we go. So the reason why I've been practicing this is when my opponents think I'm gonna do an electric or a house sweep and they duck, now I have something mid launcher, because one of the problems that Devil Jin struggles with is that he doesn't have really good mid launchers. So I don't think he has any besides that and this, which are very punishable. And at higher levels of play, you're gonna want to stay as safe as possible, because any guaranteed opening that you give your opponent is not a good thing. All right, just know that every single time. Anytime you give your opponent a easy opening, better players are gonna take advantage of it. So throwing out really unsafe stuff is gonna hurt you when you play against great players. So with that being said, this is how you do a wave dash. Is essentially you're just hitting forward, down, down, forward, 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 down, down, forward, 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 down, down, forward, forward. And that's all you're doing until you get a wave dash going. You know, the faster you do it, the, you know, it's gonna look like that, you know. And so sometimes you can skip the down forward from times, but essentially this is how I learned how to backdash, and I'll do a backdash tutorial video on how I learned. I just picked somebody to wave dash. So the same way you backdash on P1 side is the same way you wave dash. As you can see, these are very clean backdashes. This would be a very clean Korean backdash, but you're still wave dashing, and you can still do electrics out of it. So again, so you could practice doing electrics out of your wave dash, but for me, it's more about learning how to do this. Oh my god. So do that. If you want to practice, you can practice that, but I would, if you're a beginner, I would suggest that you learn the first four drills that I listed. If you could get those down, if you could just get good at that and have a solid backdash, I don't know, the world is yours, man. Like, if you could do that as close to as a robot could do it, you know, you just start looking insanely inhuman in those first four drills, first five, I think, with the dashing electric. People are gonna start to take notice. Some people are gonna start dodging you. You're gonna look, you're annoying, you're scary, dude. You know, because another thing that I didn't mention is when you're backdashing, your electric now turns into a keep out tool. So here's your our fastest launcher. You know, you gotta think like that. So that's pretty much it. Practice these things, you're gonna get better. There's no way you don't get better at the game. Practicing these things. The reason I drill these things, again, I have to come back to this subject, is I'm practicing key components of my game that I should practice. You know, there's other things that I drill, but it's dependent on how I feel I played that day. So I will scrim, you know, I'll probably play for an hour, 2 hours, depending on how crazy it gets, you know, or how into the game I get. So I'll play an hour, 2 hours, and then I'll see like, oh man, I'm messing up my my electric punishment, or I should practice my sidestep electrics, or, you know, my P1 was off today, I should practice my electrics on P1, which is usually what I've been practicing a lot more these days, you know. So practicing your P1 electrics is very important, you know. So, you know, just backdash all the way to the end of the screen, and then you guys get the point. Just these things gonna make you better players. So the reason I made this is because I had a video that I released, and it was about the win percentage for players, and at the bottom there, the Mishimas are all there at the bottom. Can you believe that? So to me, it tells me that they buffed Davuljin, they buffed Kazuya, and they buffed all these characters because the people who play them aren't winning. They just can't win, so they gotta help them, you know. And I think that's very embarrassing, because I think the characters are good. I think you can win with any of them. I just think it's more about practicing or knowing what to practice more than just playing the game, you know. So that is one thing. Also, the backdashing one is also gonna help you with your hell sweeps, you know. It's also gonna help you with your hell sweeps. So practice these things, get better at the game, continue learning matchups, play the game. Playing the game also helps, you know, but when you play the game, go in there with a goal. Look for a character, you know, that you really want to get better against. and play your Brian, play against your Brians, play against whoever. But if there's a character that you really struggle against and you see often, look for that character and just play against that character, lose to it, win against it, whatever. Watch your matches, see what you're doing wrong in that character, or answer the questions that you have. I don't know which way to sidestep Paul. Oh, you sidestep him to the right. That's really good information, So go in there with a goal. That's usually what I say. Also, look for players who are around the same skill level. One thing that I see a lot of beginners doing is they play against players who are just so much better than them, and to some extent it does help, because you start to see like the very common moves, or things that you're losing to that he just keeps doing, because some players will just continue to do the same thing over and over and over until you learn why they're doing it, so you got to keep these things in mind when you play. Understand, I always say, look for somebody who's just a little bit better than you or a little worse than you, and that you could get a lot of games against, because this is one of the reasons why I don't really play ranked. Is a lot of players are more concerned about keeping their rank, so they'll play against you and they'll lose once and they'll just leave against you, or they'll play against you and if they just keep losing, and it's like this guy is not really the same skill level, and you get, or you're playing against somebody and the games are close, but they always end up losing, and then they end up leaving because they want to keep that rank or whatever. So it's really I don't think it's a great way to practice. I like player match. I get to find players who are of the same skill level, just slightly better, a little worse, or whatever. Also, like one thing that I like about player match is there's I can also play against people who are way worse than me. I know that's messed up, but the reason why is because when I play against players who are worse than me, I practice defending myself. I play overly defensive, backdashing, I don't really rush you guys down. Unless you're asking for it, I start to rush you guys down. But backdashing, trying to react to strings that are reactable, like if I get a really bad king player, ducking that second hit of the down 4 or 4-2-1 or down 4-2-1, I try just playing defensive and seeing it if I could break throws, against lower ranked players. That's what I start to do. But against higher ranked players, just play your heart out, I guess. Try to get towards that level, try to understand why you're losing. And that's pretty much all the tips I could give you guys on how to improve. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, whatever, to hit the bell. I stream Tuesdays from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. One thing, a little secret, I made this video like twice already, but I forgot to turn on the audio for the game, so you guys can't hear the beautiful crisp sound of electricity, so I had to redo this whole video. I've been doing electrics for 2 hours. 2 hours almost. How long is this video? 30 minutes? Other one was longer, right? I don't know what I did to make that one longer, but see you guys in the next video. Have fun.